Hi guys, welcome back to my channel where I share my healing journey, my spiritual journey, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, and nothing but authenticity. So I was going through some stuff. I made this 10 years ago, you guys, and in a program I was at in my past, and I found it. There's a few things I kept. And it's just so funny, 10 years fast forward, and it says, worship, sing, always have faith. Faith makes all things possible. And across, I made this, it was like a little board, and the lady brought all these arts and crafts. And then it says, have faith in yourself and in the future. 10 years ago, I went through, and can you see that? Little flowers and worship and little board, huh? But I put it up in my bathroom. But it's funny because I went through a rebirth after I left this community, and I went through a rebirth and awakening, and I went through, breaking the generational curse and narcissist and my past and all that, and all this stuff I went through, and 10 years later, like, just to be, you have those milestones and stuff like that, and but it's just a reminder, you know what I mean? Like, reminder for me, and everything he's done in me so far, and again, I started you guys from ground zero, and so you'll see me, I'm just like in shock, and I just, what God's doing in me, and, it's been a hard journey and good journey, when you go through things, they're not easy, of course, it's hard to sit there and be like, oh yeah, it was so awesome, breaking this generation and going through all this stuff I went through, this, person in my past, and but it just molds you, that's another video that I did, a trial about trials and tribulations, and they mold you to who you are, and they give you power, but anyways, and so man, I still get watery, and I mean, it's, my process has not been easy, guys, and I prayed for something I'm not going to share yet. One day I will mark that on here, but I have a thing I want to share with everybody, but that's just me and God right now, but yeah, gotta be, this is another thing, about a year later, one of the people that, I'm not really close to my dad's side of the family. I just never really, associated with them. And again, more people need to do like shadow work on themselves, stuff like that. I never was really connected to these people. Like, and my dad, I do that for my dad and stuff like that. But anyways, she was one of the only people that I was really connected to, you know what I mean? But she gave this to me when my dad was in the hospital about 9 years ago. And it says, badass. Isn't this beautiful? Like, look at this. It's like the concrete, like Jesus, like, and look at the nails right there. The nails. And it says, in Christ. I don't know if it's and it says, in Christ, you are a loved child of God. John 1:12, Romans 8:16-17, and Galatians 3:26. You are redeemed and forgiven. Ephesians 1:7, Colossians 1:13-14, and 1 John 2:12. You are complete in Jesus Christ. Colossians 2:9-10, Philippians 1:6, and 1 Corinthians 1, chapter 1, 5-7. You are a new creation in Christ. 2 Corinthians 5:17, Galatians 2:20, and 1 Peter 1:3-23. You are more than a conqueror. Romans 8:37, Ephesians 3:20, and Philippians 2:13 and 4:13. You are citizens of heaven. Ephesians 2:19, Philippians 3:20, and Galatians 1:12. I don't know, I left stuff like this, like the nails. I have some images, I'm not going to share those yet. So I want to get those patent. But I have some images in my mind. But yeah, I have this little desk I put on my little desk. But isn't that really pretty? Like stuff like this. Oh my gosh, 9 years ago. And I still, yeah. There's just certain things that are like, I don't know, like in my little pen cup. It says a little coffee and a lot of Jesus. My little setup. But anyways, so in this video, I just want to share that. So I want to share when I went through, breaking a generational curse from Narcissist, and energetically, what's called like energetic transfer, or I don't know how I could say that, but it's kind of like, how can I say it? I don't know if I can call it destiny swap or whatever, but I want to share, when you go through this process. So when I came across the person, I've always, had, very, very high energy. And when you go through awakening and a rebirth and all the stuff, you really know, you know what I mean? Like, and through my journey of seeking who I am and stuff like that, now I just like I said, built a firm foundation. I know who I am and all that stuff. And so when you come across the narcs and you're breaking these generational things, you know what I mean? Like, they are energy vampires, okay? So you come across, if you ever been around a real narcissist, very dark energy, very, dull, like, just dark, okay? So now you come across, right, and this is part of, this is where I'll show mine, but I came across the person, and you're not fully awakened, like you're not fully healed, all this stuff like that. So here we go to another trial, I call it a big trial, in your life probably. And if it's a generational thing, you're actually breaking the cord, okay? And so versus, seeing someone and then, breaking up and then whatever, there's a difference, seeing a narcissist and then you're called to break a generational curse from a narcissist, where you actually literally have to break that cord and that contract and all stuff like that. And anyways, and break all those cycles and stuff. So anyway, so when you're in, that relationship, whatever situation, how yours went down, you are connected to that person. So now, when I was connected to this person, they literally like steal your energy pretty much, you know what I mean? And so when I was in there, you don't feel yourself. Again, you're high energy, all this stuff like that, who you naturally are, you know what I mean? Like you are like zoned out, you have no motivation, you feel lazy, you know what I mean? Like, or I can say that, like just all these things, okay, that when you first came across, you were not, okay? And so when I came across, I went through all this. And anyways, so now through this process there, my situation was, still in the energy, you know what I mean? Like, and again, in my situation too, it was like a lot of witchcraft and all that stuff like that when I was going through that. Now I'm very, like I said, when I went through, I healed from all this and stuff like that, and I evolved, so now it doesn't even work, you know what I mean? If they're still, you know what I mean, doing that. But again, I'm very like high. Like I've raised my vibration so high and healed and, forgiven and, you know what I mean? Like, and now it's like, I just love talking and sharing about this, and, but anyways, when you go into this, it's like it feels like that because that was never their energy. You come across them in this high vibration energy, right? And in my situation, the narc thought that was his energy, and you go through all this and you're just like, and it was gross, you know what I mean? Like, and it was not a fun process what I went through, and anyways, but you come across them, you know what I mean? They're like energy vampires. Like they suck your life, they suck your energy, you're drained, your idea, like all this stuff like that, who you are naturally, you know what I mean? As a person, that's who I was naturally, very creative, very high vibrational, very, you know what I mean? So when I went through this, I mean, like, they are definitely, energy vampires, like, and you are the opposite, right? So it's like he's taking your energy and, you know, sucking you dry, and then you're the one down here, you know what I mean? And it's crazy how that happens too, you know what I mean? It's just like an energetic suck, you know what I mean? And but you're just not this, you're not yourself, you know? And anyway, so you're going through this process until you break those cycles, until you learn your lessons, and you know what I mean? Like, and but yeah, that was never their energy. So in my situation, the person got, you know, this is how powerful my energy is, you guys. And so when I came in across this person, got really, you know, in my situation, got really cocky and just, you know, bit the hand that fed him, you know. So I, you know, this person like, you know, I gave, just think about that. I gave this person, you know what I mean? That's in my situation, you know, that's a whole nother one too. We could talk about repo ESO, but I gave, you know what I mean? Energetically, you know, and a lot, you know what I mean? Like in my situation, and so much, you know what I mean? Like, and person, you know, again, I dealt with a very selfish narcissist, you know what I mean? And in my situation, you guys, and again, and so this person was like stealing, taking, and then you're low, okay? And this person, they're over here, you know, like this, you know, whatever, at high energy and stuff like that, your energy, okay, pretty much, okay? And so, and you're drained, okay? Or you're lifeless, or whatever the situation may be, okay? And you're not energetic, you're not yourself, okay? And I learned all this, you know what I mean? Because you go through this process, it's like, wow, you know, it feels like, you know, it's swapped, you know what I mean? Because they stole your energy, you know what I mean? Anyways, and so when you're breaking these, this is what they do, you know what I mean? And especially if you're in a connection with one, they'll drain you out, and you are just not you, okay? Until you learn your lessons, you break those cycles, what you need to do, what God is teaching you, right? And then you fully heal, and you move on, and you remove every single bit of that person out like I did. You come back into your energy, not only healed, and I healed and evolved and stuff like that, better than before. Now I have all this knowledge and information out of it. You get what I'm saying? But anyways, and so this, you know, energetic transfer, whatever you call it, you know what I mean? These people have no energy, you know what I mean? They don't have, like I said, I'm a light, I'm using my example for instance, I'm a huge, I know my energy, you know what I mean? Very high vibrational, powerful crap, powerful shit. Excuse me language. Okay, so it's like my energy when I go out here, you know, it sort of bounces off people, you know what I mean? And I worked really hard on that, you know, 15 years on my energy and stuff, and continue doing that, guys. So anyways, but the narc will tend to think, you know, oh, look at, you know, and in my situation, you know, he chose to go out, you know, and chose to go out and give all the energy. That's what they do. They go out, you know, and to their supply, and they go and give it to others, you know what I mean? And they don't give it to you, nothing. They don't give nothing. You're the one energetically giving to this person, okay? But yet they're not giving nothing back to you, okay? One-sided, you know what I mean? And so, but they're literally biting the hand that fed them, that's giving them that energy, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so I'm over here drained, you know what I mean? Like when I was going through this process, I mean, like I literally had to pray myself out of this, you know, and pray, you know, and whatever was going on, and with all this, you know, the witchcraft, all this stuff that this person was doing on me. On top of that, my energy being drained, and anyways, and I knew, I was like, you know, you could know when you go through this, it's not you, you know what I mean? Like you, I mean, it's like I said, that's why I say it's so gross, you know what I mean? Like, and what I've been through, and like. Healed, I mean, like unbelievable, you guys, but this is real, you know what I mean? And so now eventually though, again, it's funny though, because you know, you give that person, and that's your energy, and you do that for that person, and then they turn around, and it's not, and it's the same routine for everybody, and then they go and give it to everybody else, but the one person that's giving, that's feeding them, you know what I mean? And then treat them like, you know, and it was really treated, like I said, horrible, you guys. Like, I'll never, like, it's so hard to forget, you know what I mean? Like, and, you know, you forgive, but you don't ever forget, because you don't ever, we'll talk about that in the video about, you know, when now you know, you heal from all this, all this, toxic stuff that they're doing, all the manipulation. Oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Like, and then, but anyways, you get through all that. I got through all this, right? And now you heal, you break all those cycles, you learn your lessons, you're done, right? This has been done a long time. But you're done, you're back into your energy. The cycle's been broken, the curse has been broken. It's a generational curse, so you're breaking a curse because these people are literally curses. Once you break free from them, that's when everything starts flowing in your life. You know what I mean? When you literally break free from these people, you're literally whatever it is. And I meet so many people out here, okay? And God aligns me with these people. It's not just it's divine. It's called divine appointments, okay? So anyways, but I talked to so many. One girl was like, oh my God, and she was sharing her story. And she was like, as soon as I let this person in, I have my and this opportunity opened up, and I was like, and I was sharing, and she's like, yeah, I was just confirming what she already knew. That's what the Lord will send me normally. Like if you ever say a prayer or, in this world, I've known that a lot, certain people, but their angels and spiritual guides will guide me there just to confirm what they are already going. But I don't even know these people. And this is, again, the spirit. I've been doing this 15 years and the Lord's been teaching me my gifts and all that stuff. So now it just comes naturally to me, and I'll just start speaking to you and I don't even know you. And it's about things of your life and all this stuff like that. And it's like, because it's Jesus Christ Spirit, the Holy Spirit inside me. I no longer live. Christ has died through all my, me killing my flesh in this world. That's 15 years. Christ's Spirit has came alive, in the spiritual realm. And so, but anyways, I wanted to talk about, because I know people, and there's people still in those, you know what I mean? Like, and two different things. So remember that, you know what I mean? Like I shared this person, like, that was never their energy, you know what I mean? Like in the first place, and if you come across, they have like dark energy, you know what I mean? And especially if they're, it depends on there's like a lot of different kinds and stuff like that in this world. And, especially if they're dabbling in dark magic, now they have dark entities attached to them, you know what I mean? They're not alike, and, anyway, so now, but anyways, you break all these, you break that, you get back into your energy, and now not even that, it's like, wow, you're back to yourself with more power because you conquer that trial in your life. And unfortunately it went down like that. That's just the way mine went. And I came across this individual. I wasn't really healed and awakened, and so in this person's mind, I guess he just thought, like, they tend to go towards people that they can reject. You know what I mean? Well, that's a whole nother video. But but they tend to go towards people that they actually can reject. You know what I mean? Like, now that I healed, I evolved, I'm in my power, I know who I am, I will reject. You know what I mean? Like, versus when I first came across, I wasn't healed, I was involved, I didn't speak, I didn't have speak up, you know what I mean? Like, and so, again, part of working on those things, I had a lot of, holes that I needed to heal, and once those heal and close up, you know who you are, you know what I mean? Like, and again, it was just a trauma bond kind of thing. And, but anyways, and so, but evolved and stuff like that. Now, the dark tries me, a whole nother story. Reject. They don't like rejection, you guys. Like, they do not like rejection. So that's where their mind would tend to go to people that they know that they would reject, possibly insecure, vulnerable, you know what I mean? They'll prey on that, you know what I mean? And, okay, I could go to this person because I know they're not going to reject me, you know what I mean? And not confident kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like, and they could see that, you know what I mean? And so, but anyways, yeah, I wanted to share that, and it's crazy. I look back and all this stuff I've been through, you know what I mean? Like, and just overcame, and it just shows you who you are in the kingdom, you know what I mean? Like, and, but yeah, I guess you could call it, sort of looks like a destination swap, you know what I mean? But if back, all that stuff, because they're like sucking all your energy, you know what I mean? Like, and depleting you know what I mean? And then this is where they'll go out and then they'll come back to you, depending on your situation and stuff like that. They didn't, or they'll go in and out of your energy, you know what I mean? In the beginning, that's what this person's doing, in and out, in and out. But anyways, this person thought he could have his cake and eat it too, and he just thought I was like, that's why you never judge a book by its cover, you know? Boom. Once I healed, and it was like, boom, 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 boom. It's like, whoa, where did you come from? Be careful. You know, sometimes God will allow that, you know? But, anyways, I'm a huge vessel of God's, you guys. And, you know, sometimes, you know, you come across an earth angel, you know, there's a reason for it, you know what I mean? But, again, like I said, I share my story. Very big ego. Like, I mean, and again, that's just demons, you know what I mean? Because no humble man or woman of God is that, you know what I mean? That was like that, you know? And I forgive this person. Again, you know, your high vibration, you forgive, you move forward. When you have the Holy Spirit, you know, after you heal, it's like you have this like heart thing again. I don't know how to explain it, but you forgive, you know what I mean? Like, and you pray, you know what I mean? You really pray because, you know, anyways, you pray for them, like with the real God, you know what I mean? And but like I said, what I went through, there's, you know, no coming back from that and stuff like that. And not just, you know, there's a lot of other things, but, and yeah, like I said, I prayed for this person, you know, good riddance, not, you know, and, but yeah, what I went through, you know, again, was really, really horrible. And, I'm just thankful, you know, and, but yeah. God is amazing, guys. But yes, so it is not, you know, I like to share this, you know, because it, you know, people are still in them, you know what I mean? Like, and you are feeling any of that, you know what I mean? It is not you, you know? And, you have the energy, you know what I mean? You have the power, you have the energy the whole time, you know what I mean? And so, but again, you don't know that in the beginning, so you have to go through a process and learn what you're called to learn. And, you know, like I said, I went through awakening and stuff like that, and I learned my lessons, you know? And so, it's like going through like a time warp. So, you know what I mean? You know, when you break into narcissist from narcissist, it's like you go and then you meet the narcissist and then you're out of body experience. They suck your energy for the time limit. Then you heal, you evolve, you break all those cycles of that, and then you go back into your energy. But now you have all this wisdom and knowledge when you come out than you did before, you know, and even better than before, you know. Because all your lessons you learned, unbelievable, you know what I mean? Like, and then you come out and you look back and you're like, whoa. And sometimes when you're in the middle of that, you can't see that, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, but yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. And, you are more than a conqueror, you know what I mean? Like, and remember that. And let's see, energetically, yeah. But energy is like you have to heal and, you know, do the shadow work in your life to get, you know, and like I said, I've been through a lot of trials and testing, you know, and, you know, when I was going through all this was like a test and trial. And, you know, God's seen everything, you know, and, but I go throughout my journey, a lot of testing and trials. God tests us and tries us, our spiritual guides, angels, but when when no one's looking, you know what I mean? And that's where he judges us, you know, and we could be anything out there and here, right? But like where God sees us and tests us is when no one's watching. That's the ultimate test. And this is where we get our power and, you know, just who we are, you know what I mean? Like, and this is where God sees, you know, and we go through, oh, no one's watching. God, yeah, we have angels that watch us. We have God that watches us, and then we reap that. And you're like, oh, no one saw me. And the next thing you know, you're reaping all this karma. It's like, but no one saw me. Yeah, Jesus saw. God, angels saw. spiritual guidance in our life, whether we believe in God or not. We have spiritual guidance in our lives, you know. I just got a new spiritual guidance, spiritual guide in my life, you know. And again, depending your calling, stuff like that, you get spiritual guidance every part of your journey. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm very spiritually led. I work in what we call the 5D, not the 3D, not in the world and what we see, but in the spiritual realm. You know, very powerful person. I have, you know, very powerful aura. Just everything I am is because, you know, of who you know, all the testing and trials I've been through in my life and how God sees you, who you are, you know what I mean? And, again, who you are when no one's watching, you know what I mean? And so, and this is where you get your, you know, yeah, according to your purpose of that energy, you know, and doing the shadow work in your life, and a lot of healing, you know? Is anything else, God? But yeah, I just want to talk about that in this video. And yeah, energetic transfer when you're breaking generous Christian narcissists, that, you know, when you go into that, you're gonna not feel yourself because they're sucking it all out until you learn your lesson and you break those cycles, and then you'll go back into your energy, you'll heal. But yes, when you come across them, they have no energy, you know what I mean? Like dark energy, okay? And then you're the light. Now, I was a big light, so that's why this person got really, really, really big in his head, in his ego, and God showed him that through his, you know, however he saw in his life. But got really, really, really big, you know what I mean? Just imagine, that's what I say, God showed him, like, imagine if he had the power that I had. Oh my God, horrible. And that's why then wasn't chosen, you know what I mean? And so, because we're very humble people, no matter what power I have, no matter what, I don't abuse it, you know what I mean? If anything, I underuse it, you know what I mean? And I'd rather be underuse it than over abuse it, you know, in this world, you know what I mean? Like, anyways, like helping people constantly, you know what I mean? Like, and like when I go see someone taking someone in, I say something right away. Someone, like the other day, I have a friend across the way, and she has cancer, and she told me to go to the store. She gave me her credit card, all this stuff like that, PIN number, and, you know, I went and did it, came back, got her receipt, showed her everything, you know what I mean? Like, I would never steal, you know what I mean? But you put that in the wrong hands, yes, you know what I mean? But anyways, and so that's a whole nother, I could do a video about them stealing, you know? And yeah, we'll talk about that. I'll do in the next video. We'll do that stealing, you know? Sort of said a little bit on here, but yeah. But yeah, so I think that's everything for this. I just want to share this. Say God bless you guys, and love and light, you know? And as I said, it's just important to know yourself and know who you are, you know? Know your energy. And yeah, and you know the difference, you know what I mean? Totally different, you know? And it's like I celebrate, and God is amazing, you know what I mean? Like you could just light and dark too. Anyways, and so but anyways, yeah, God bless you, and I'll see you in my next video, and we'll talk then. Bye.